All right, Mike, it's Forbes Riley here. Oh, there you go. With the cute little thing. We're in my office. Want to see something crazy? Look at my ceiling. I just went nuts.
Oh, wow.
Well, I happen to be a former magician. That's one of the things I love doing. I love card tricks. I also love the fact that the heart ended up over my desk. I think that's pretty powerful. I also have something way over there. One of my students, for my very first training, she painted that. Did you know that? Oh, you didn't? You haven't gotten a tour of this.
That's a painting.
That is a painting.
Wow.
And when she first did it, she doesn't really paint a lot. And she said, she did a little sketch of my kids. You ever see a sketch or a portrait that wasn't very good?
Yeah.
She did it of my kids. I'm like, you did a painting? Oh, God. And then she unraveled that. And it's about almost 5.5 feet tall. I built my office around this. And then here's the crazy thing. After her breakthrough with me and that training, she became a housekeeper for 14 years. She never painted again. So one of the things that I love about Miss Kelly, and I have since I met her, is that there is such beautiful potential, and there's a woman here who doesn't quite believe in herself, which to me breaks my personal heart, because she has an air about her, she has a way about her, and I think a success profile that's undeniable. I also happen to know Sherry and Esther, and I've known Bank Code since they started. I was a huge fan of it until I got a little bit deeper, and I listened to how they wanted to charge you as an affiliate and some of the things they had put in place, and I didn't like it, and I never signed up with them, I never promoted them, I don't quite know why. Then I meet you and you talk about it, and I hear how she's handling it, and I see bank everywhere on her personal material. And one of the things that I teach is that when you work with a company like that, you don't work for them. They just supply the product. So if she's a personality profiler, or she loves to do that kind of work, she's using that system, that code that they created, but it's her technique, it's her things laced on above that. And then you said that you had some issues with them. Happens with every company like that. And my recommendation to your beautiful wife is that if this is what she wants to do in terms of personality profiling, understanding how to have relationships be better, teams be better, sales teams be better, that we start to build her own world. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. One of the things that I think that Kelly will benefit from is having a very supportive group of people. What I put together, I do a platinum partnership, a private, and I don't do many people because I only have a little amount of time. And I do talk to 500-700 people on a Sunday. I have a lot of trainings. I'm cutting all of that way back as my 65th birthday is happening next month. And I have a new book coming out, and there's some things that I want to accomplish while I'm on the planet. But I am making time for a maximum of 10 people. I have 4 that I've worked with, 2 for the last 2 years, 2 that are relatively new, but they have wonderful businesses. And I set up a system where I talk to them once a month. We outline a 30-day strategy every month. And I said, well, how would that affect my Momentum X people? And here, let me find this little piece of paper here.
Oh, I sent him that already.
And the goal is to get her set up for the business that she wants to do. Now, if you buy a franchise, you're going to pay what, $35,000, $45,000 for the rights to license a franchise. And then if it's a building, then you have to spend the $200,000 or $300,000 to do the build out. And unfortunately, there's never a guarantee, but there's a little bit of a, like if you're doing a Chick-fil-A and you identify the right area, odds are you're going to make money. People in my world make money. No doubt about that. I know you don't really personally know me, but I'm very committed to people I work with. We talk about over-delivering. We talk about having been screwed over in my career several times and I can't stand it. I'm in business with my daughter. Not only does she run my company, but we have a sister company that takes care of the entire back end. I'm a visionary. What are you?
Implementer.
Yeah. You are really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, I said that, but Sandy Lynn spoke at the same time, so you didn't really hear
I
me.
didn't really hear that because you would be the only implementer
I was
in
the
the
only
room.
one in the room. Yes.
Well,
I
that's
am not
interesting.
visionary.
Well, now that even makes it even more interesting because then you need the vision to implement. Mm-hmm. When you say implementer, what are you really good at? Do you think?
Following instructions, doing what's asked of me.
Well, I will tell you, major visionary over here. And that is the goal of this. So what you see here and what I outlined that I charge $50,000 for, and you can't tell the 4 people who paid that I'm not charging that to my Momentum X people because they came in at full price and never asked questions. It's like, So let's just be quiet about this because I took $15,000 off from Momentum people because I said, I looked at who was in the room and I said I could work with them. You being one of them. We have Sandy's I've got almost everybody in this room said yes because of what we created. because what these 3 days have been. So what that means is every month you're going to get a whole hour, you and me. I'm not going to ask you what you should be doing, especially if I know you're an implementer. We're going to decide what you should be doing, set out the strategy, and then go and get it. And I will tell you, I think this will make you very happy. I think you going into businesses and corporations and profiling and doing this, and then what else do you need? You need the book that is you. And I don't care what system you use to profile people. That to me is not the most important part. It's your personality. It's your desire to help. The other thing too is here we're going to do Forbes Factor Unleashed, which is going to be a 300 to 500 person event happening in September. I also offer that we could do Momentum X again. Guys, I have never done this before. I don't know why I would want to give away a $15,000 training again for free, but I am, because the value of, if somebody's investing a year with me, I want you to have all those assets. You look beautiful in your pictures. Wait till you see her photos. It's going to be amazing. The private Discord group allows you to stay connected. What do you think the value is of the other people in this room?
Oh, goodness. I mean, you've got Misty, who's a $1 million+ earner.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't tell you what the rest of them are.
She's kind of a take no prisoner kind of person.
She is.
John here's what you have, is you have a team of people who know you. In 3 days, when you get to know people who can support you on social media, who are cheerleaders, if you ask any one of them, they all see a lot more in Kelly than you might see. It's always easier when you're not the coffee in the cup. So it's not just me cheering you on, but to have this group of people. And I mean, like I said, I think doing Momentum X again, I don't know why I would give this away. McKenna looked at me and said, why would you do that? And I said, because I want you to have assets. I want you to take the next 6 months, build on what you've already built, the video that you've got, the 2 videos that you've got, the photos that we've got. And then I also looked at the woman who you did your branding session with. How dare you tell somebody not to take photos with someone else?
Oh.
I just think people, guys, I'm sorry, Mike, if I walked around my studio, it's a $2 million building. I own the entire building completely outright. I built it on a fitness product that nobody thought was going to work. I'm quite the revolutionary upstart disruptor. And now I work with both my kids and my husband. Isn't that kind of a funny way to do it, right? But we walk the walk. We're incredibly transparent. And the goal here, and this is really the goal, because just so you know, I made a little bit of a mistake last year. I wanted to work with this branding company. They had a 2-day branding session. They did not include the website. They only included their branding session and an idea for the homepage. I spent $40,000 on their 2-day VIP. By day 1, I was sick to my stomach because this guy that I wanted to work with forever was having a fight with his girlfriend, who was the designer. The kind of energy at that table, and I looked at McKenna and I'm like, she's like, I think we just wasted our money. And we did. And they didn't return any of it. It was $40,000 for a 2-day VIP session and no website. And a year later, go to Forbes, I don't have a website. I will now because my son just said, Mom, I'm going to pick up the slack. But we're not going to do that to Kelly. We are going to very quickly strategize, how do you get into companies and do what you're doing? How do you also clean up whatever residual issues, whether you're going to move forward with bank is okay, or whether you don't move. It doesn't matter to me. If you don't move forward, you got to make sure that there's no clause in the contract that says you have a non-compete. And you don't know that yet, do you?
I'm pretty sure, but yeah, I need to take a better look.
Well, let's just take a look at it, because you might, in fact, do one of 2 things. You might call them and say, look, I'm just going to profile, I'm going to use your product, and I'm going to pay you something to use your product. And again, you're going to have to share with me a little on how that relationship works for real. We haven't dove into that.
Right.
I know those 2 women, but I want this has to work for your wife. And one of the things I think that's going to help you is, have an advocate. You have somebody who's willing to fight with you, for you, with the goal of making you money. So, can you 10x your investment? Can you make $350,000?
I hope so. That would be the goal.
Okay, so I'm going to smack the hope out of her. In my world, we don't say I hope. What we do is we look at a whiteboard and say, how much is a company willing to pay to have you come in and coach them and do this? What do you think? Is it per person? Is it per session?
Depends on what the company wants and how they want to get that set up.
Well, I want you to tell them what they want. You guys, I come into your company and I sit with your sales team for X amount of hours. It's a 1-day session and it's $3,500 or it's $35,000 for 10 people. Whatever it is, when you set out the landing page and the whole world that looks very professional, and we say, look, we can save your company, whatever the buzzwords are going to be, We can save your company time, money, and anguish because when you personality profile this way, teams work together. Productivity increases, harmony increases. How can you say no to that? And maybe you start at a very low price tag and you get 5 companies to go. I mean, you have 5 local companies we're going to find. By the way, I heard you work for GoDaddy. I love GoDaddy. I've been invested in GoDaddy for 20 years.
I know, and Riker always promotes GoDaddy as the primary thing we should be buying our domains from.
Yeah, well, I have 400 domains that I pay for every year. You know how much money that is? Good real estate, although I just recently sold one of my websites, I think, for like $8,000, so well, my URLs. But I do want to say that customer service, you ever want a testimonial from me for GoDaddy, they have always been the most helpful, the most supportive people. If I've ever screwed up on something, they take care of it. But navigating GoDaddy and Southwest, to me, are the 2 customer service rock stars in this industry. So, having said that, this is who I am. This is all that I am. I think about this day in and day out. We talk about strategy. What was your time like here at Momentum?
Impressive. There was just so much information. And again, going back to what we're talking about here, on day 1, when we were talking about what we're doing with our businesses, I told Forbes what was going on with Bank. And she's like, oh, well, we can do this. She was already laying something out before ever introducing this program. So she already had a game plan going in her head for me. So
let me share with you. I'm going to give you a little tour of the studio.
Okay.
This is my creation, this entire building. So from the curved walls, everything is kind of roundish. Oh, you may not like the president and vice president. Politics aside, I'm just going to make that blank. But I have a beautiful Lifetime Achievement Award from the President's Office of the United States. I think that, and there's one from the governor. I think that's pretty impressive. The girl does what she says she's going to do. And then just a little quick tour of my studio. Nice. That would be the entrance with my name on it. Oh, hello, hello. McKenna, say hi to Kelly's husband.
Hi, Kelly's husband.
Why? Oh, look at John. Look at that. Oh, we're having too much fun here. Tell me the value of what it would be like to train with me for a year.
The idea is the business partner. Kelly's in a really interesting place in her business, and there's a point where you take courses and you do all of these trainings, and then you get to a point where it's okay, now I need someone to consult with, I need someone to work with me, work on the sales, work on business. And so going through the different sales train, how do I close people? What's my next move? How am I going to get speaking? What platforms am I going to be on? This is one-to-one work. We only take 10 people to do it because we know the value of this, because we do one-to-many. We do big events with thousands of people in it virtually. So it's a very select group of people who get to experience this. And as they go through it, you will see the results starting after 3 calls, simply because you've got someone going, okay, this is your business, this is what you're doing, this is how you're doing it, let's make it a success. And Forbes is my business partner and mother. And I do call her my cash cow because there's nobody who's better at making money than this woman after $2.5 billion in sales.
Well, and I love what you just said, and this is really important for you. You said something yesterday. This is not a training.
No.
I have trainings. We can do speaker training. We've done that. We can do a lot of different trainings. This is called partnership for a reason. I only succeed when you guys succeed, and the goal here is to make money. McKenna, how important is it to make money?
The roof over your head, the food on your table, all of it goes into that. And so that's something that is not only important, but is needed to sustain this. I know a lot of us want to get our message out there and to get out to hundreds, thousands, if not millions of people. And I love that. And there's a goal and there's a reason that we want to do that. But also at the end of the day, we need to make money. And so that's one thing that we really focus on is how to make your offer concise and offerable so that people buy it.
Forbes, can I say something?
Yes, absolutely.
So I've taken about $225,000 worth of courses and coaching for the last 2.5 years. And each one of them has taken me to a different level or a different part of all these different pieces of the puzzle. So a lot of these pieces are together, or are separate, but now I see that Forbes is actually able to put them together. And I see that what she's been able to do with me just in this last 3 days has been able to mold me like clay and actually get me to come out of my shell and be myself. And that's what I need. And yes, it's another investment, but I see this investment actually being the one that's going to make everything else pay off.
I appreciate you, John. Thank you very much. I was just giving a little tour of the studio, but I bumped into greatness. Come here real quick. All right, so our conference room here, I built this because I thought if you build it, they will come. It is the most beautiful whiteboard over here, electronic whiteboard. The way we work in this room, this is my absolute heart center. I love when I get to bring people here. And then the big part of this, two things I just want you to see. I don't need to impress you. I just want to, I know what it's like to make an investment. This little plaque here represents the fact that McKenna and I, in our first year of business, made $1 million building a funnel. I'm very proud of this. The reason we have it is because we said we wanted it. We used to watch people who had big digital marketers, and I said, well, how do you do that? She's like, Mom, we'll just figure it out. 9 months later in business, we had our first 1 million plaque. And then because of all of that, this is my beautiful, glamorous makeup center, and then the studio that I built. And, you know, if you look at all of this, little kid from Long Island who didn't grow up with very much of anything, had a dream, has lots of dreams, and I've watched all of them come true. That's my goal for Kelly. So I hope you enjoyed this. I appreciate your time and energy. She's a wonderful woman. Whether she joins us or not, she'll still always be in my heart. She's going to come back for Forbes Factor. This will give a very different transformation. But when she comes back from Forbes Factor, oh my goodness. It's like taking a shirt that's dirty, washing it, and seeing, oh my God, how clean could that shirt get?
Now
Sandy,
a dirty shirt.
I am. So just give her husband a little love about how.
Wow, we love Kelly. So listen, think about this real fast now, because it doesn't take much to know that she should be here with us, right, Kelly?
Oh, that's so sweet. Why? What do you see in her?
I see, oh my gosh. From the first day I saw you, you were fabulous. But now, baby girl, after 3 days together and feeling your heart and hearing your mind and knowing what you can do and be, you got to be with us.
Want to hear something crazy about this woman? I feel like doing guess an age contest.
I know. I was gonna say,
go.
how old do you think this woman is? And I will give you that answer when I get home.
All right. On that note, we're out of here.